All right, everybody, welcome to Lish's 2025 Playoff League on MyFantasyLeague.com website. You should have all received your emails to go in and claim your team. This video will talk about the format as well as just some things to know. I wouldn't really call them strategies, but just different ways that you can try to set your lineup and maximize points and maximize whatever, different theories, so to speak. One thing I will say is I like it on a tablet. It's a lot easier to maneuver. So I'll show you these different buttons and things. They're available on the phone, just slightly different. If you guys need that, I can make a phone video also. One of the things I will say is I personally, if I can go on my screen, I personally create a link, a short link, to it by just setting, adding that to the home screen. And I would recommend doing that on the phone as well. And then that way you can just click the link and bring up the league page. So for what that's worth. All right. So one and done means once you use a player, can't use them again. If you want to try to save Josh Allen because you think the Bills are going to the Super Bowl, don't use them week 1, 2, or 3. You're at the risk that if they lose, you miss out on being able to use him. So for example, if you decide, I know I want to use Josh Allen and I'm not taking a chance that they lose week 1 to the Broncos. So I'm taking Josh Allen week 1 and he puts up 35. Awesome. Someone might have saved Josh Allen, not used him. They said, well, I'm going to use him week 2. Maybe he only puts up 15 and they lose. Well, probably a good idea that you used him first. So there's a balance there between using guys in good matchups or while also weighing I think this team's going to lose. So I want a guy on that team that I think is going to lose. So what Packers play the Eagles, right? So if you're like, I think the Packers are going to lose, I'm using Jordan Love week 1. Because if they're losing, I think they're going to be throwing the ball more, right? But if they do win, it's likely because Jordan Love does really well. Okay, so that's sort of a theory. So I'm going to use Jordan Love week 1 as my quarterback. So you choose your own adventure. I would say in years past, it's been a mix, trying to save people for the Super Bowl, who you think is going to make it to the Super Bowl. And then in the end, you only have like maybe 2 or 3 useful guys in the Super Bowl. So sometimes, at least in my own personal belief, I don't think the best strategy is just saving everybody for that possible for the Super Bowl. Because then you just start some really lame receivers. I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Mike P won. He had Marquez Valdes-Scantling in the AFC Championship game, went for 2 tutties. Huge day for him. Nobody else had really used him because they were all thinking Kansas City's going to make the championship, so not going to use him. Well, Kansas City won. They went to the championship, and MVS put up like 2 points, right? So game theory. All right, I think you guys sort of all understand that one and done. But what you guys really need to know, how to use the submit a lineup. There's 2 ways to do it. The easiest way, again, I think, is to go here, click submit a lineup. You'll get a list of all your players. The most important thing I want to show you is hidden down here, not really hidden, but down here at the bottom, harder to see on your phone, submit lineup. So you select guys, click add. I already had filled in a lineup earlier, but let's take a couple guys off just so we can show. So remove those 2 guys. All right, so now I got Lamar Jackson. So I can see my current roster here. And down here, it'll show you what you've got and need. So I currently don't have a QB, and I currently are required to have a second running back. So put Lamar back in, add him over, numbers changed. Who did I have? Saquon, add him over, numbers change. I'm all good. The biggest thing is hitting submit lineup. Real quick before I do that, though, 4 to 5 wide receiver, tight end, flex. Since there's not a whole lot of tight ends, I've lumped them in there so that we can use them, but that we're not required every week to start a tight end. Also, that number is a 4 to 5, as well as place kicker of 0 to 1. For this, because if you get to the Super Bowl and you don't have anyone left in terms of ability to start a player, then you can still at least submit a lineup without a place kicker. I think one year it was like, it won't let me submit because I have no kicker left in the Super Bowl. So we tried to fix that last year. So technically, I guess you could submit a lineup with only 7 guys. Probably not a good idea. But the biggest thing is submit lineup afterwards. Once you do, you'll see your lineup here. You also can go to live scoring and see your lineup here. This is also where you could potentially track, kind of like in fantasy. So, oh, nice and moist. Wonderful. And the other place you can see it is, or to go to submit a lineup, is if you're on the home page, instead of going up to the top here, you can actually click on your team name. And from here, you can see that submit lineup. But you could also see the little icon here, submit my lineup. And that'll bring you to that same spot. From your team page, this is where you can change some of your information as well. One of the biggest things that you can see here is once you have players that have gone, when you go to scoring history, it'll show you. So if I go, let me go back to a previous year and we'll see. So if I go to the playoff league last year and I go to Luscious Team Patty for the win last year, and I go to scoring history, what you'll see is all the guys you've used. The S means you started them that week. So once you use Josh Allen, okay, I didn't use him week 1, but his scores still show up. But the S is when he was a starter in your lineup. I believe that it says it down here. Yep, starter and not on your roster. So you can see last week I used Jordan Love week 1, thought they would lose, and they won. I also used Tony Pollard, thinking that even if Dallas won, it was going to be a heavy run. Kyron Williams, Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Tyreek, Pickens, right? So those are all my players. Those are the points at the end, right? So you can see that in my starter points in the Super Bowl were good, but I was too far behind because I got cute with it in previous weeks and tried to save too many people. Anyways, so that would be where you can see the players you've used already from week to week. Also, when you go to submit lineup, it won't have those players. Sorry, I'm in the wrong league. It won't have the players available. They'll disappear from that list when you go to submit my lineup, so you won't be able to use them anymore. Again, check live scoring. If you need to screenshot, just to make sure, in case you didn't do it, you feel like you didn't do it right, and then there's any issues after the game starts, that might be a good idea, but should be all right. I think your guys are all smart guys. All right, that's what I got. Hopefully it's pretty straightforward. Again, one more time, I just want to drill it home because it's, yes, a really dumb web-based thing, but it's very customizable, and I kind of like it in that sense. Submit by moving players over, add. Click here to see who you have on your list. Because see, it says 0 items. Don't know why it says 0. There's clearly people in there. But you can see here your numbers and then submit, and sure you've got what you got. All right.